Today I'm going to expose the secret world of supercar dealerships. I was wanting to buy a new GT3 RS, please.
Have you bought enough cars?
If you were lucky enough to have the money to buy a luxury special edition supercar like Porsche, Ferrari or Lamborghini, it's not as easy as walking into a dealership and buying the car of your dreams. To purchase these exotic low number cars, you need to be on the list. And today we're going to see how hard it is to get on the list and hopefully purchase one of the best cars Porsche has ever made.
Here is the new Porsche GT3 RS, and this is a new Porsche 911
GT3 RS.
And to confirm just how special this car is, just check out these reactions.
Oh my god.
This feels like a bloody racing car to me.
On my journey to buy a car, I found a shocking web of dealers potentially misleading their customers. So what is the list? Dealerships have their very best customers. These are people who buy many cars through the year and potentially spend millions of pounds. These big spenders then sometimes get the chance of getting the rare edition low-numbered supercars, which are very sought after, but also stand a good chance of not losing money, and sometimes in fact even making money. These people are carefully handpicked to be real ambassadors of the brand. So what qualifies you to be on this list? You're expected to buy a number of cars, and sometimes these cars are less desirable, high volume, low-end model cars which are most likely to lose a load of cash. This proves they are loyal customers, but obviously that comes with a cost to the buyer. So I'm going in-store face-to-face to show the dealer just how serious I am. I was wanting to buy a new GT3 RS, please.
The new GT3 RS. I don't know, what's your sort of background with Porsche? Sounds a horrible question, doesn't it? Have you bought enough cars?
is that the...
I think, yeah, from my understanding is you have to have bought like a ridiculous amount of cars to even be sort of put on the list, really. So this guy, way before my time, probably bought 6-7 cars off us per year, and he's bought for quite a long time as well.
Yeah.
Somebody threw a figure in like £2 million spend or something with the same dealer.
So I need to spend £2 million a year to get a slot for a GT3 RS, but there's a catch.
Ultimately, we can do everything we can. I wouldn't want to say there's a guarantee on X amount of numbers or X amount of spend, but
you know, you sort of invest in cars you don't really like prefer and want, and then you still don't get that allocation at the end of it.
Right, let's pause it right there. This is my problem. I think there's people going in with the dream of buying their ultimate car, the 992 GT3 RS. And I think these dealers are giving the dangling carrot. They're saying, if you buy 10 cars, which will potentially lose hundreds of thousands of pounds, I might get you a car. And they know that there isn't enough cars to go around. They're selling a dream which is not going to happen.
Okay, great. Thanks ever so much. Thanks for your time. Take care.
So it looks like it's going to be difficult to get this allocation to order a brand new GT3 RS. For now, let's keep trying, but if needed, I've got a secret weapon which should get me that slot. But first, we need to understand more about the system. Now the question is why? Why are these dealers so protective of these top-end models? But of course, it all comes down to one thing: money. The more of the supply they control, the more money they will make. This is when overs comes into play. So what is overs? You can see our previous video here to see that in depth. But to put it simple now, it's when you purchase a car from a dealer and the very next day you sell the car for a profit, simply because there's a queue of people wanting to buy that very car.
So hypothetical numbers, that's Senna, right?
Yeah.
Like immediately once you bought it, how much could you have flipped it for?
I think initially in the US, maybe 300,000 over.
Now, that is tax-free cash, maybe even overnight. So the main dealers want to stop this from happening because they don't want people buying these just to flip them. So when you purchase one of these in-demand cars, they can make you sign a contract to say you will not sell the car within 6 months or even a year, even though it's your car bought with your own money. And the consequences, if you do sell that car early, you'll be blacklisted and you'll be refused any special cars in the future. Some of these cars have already slipped through the net and they are for sale right now, and obviously the owners have been blacklisted. Now these cars are fetching as much as £150,000 over what that car was originally bought for. But that's so risky to buy a car at these inflated prices, as they are likely to reduce as more cars come to the market. So personally, I only want to buy a car from a main dealer at the original list price. Even though so far I have been rejected, I am determined to buy one of these amazing cars. Now, not having the time to travel up and down the country to see these dealers face to face, I'm going to hit the phones, and the reactions I got were amazing. Right, preparation is key. I have my list of Porsche dealerships. I can find 39, and I've got a green highlighter for all the ones which are going to sell me a brand new 911 992 GT3 RS at normal list price.
Good luck.
When we got through to the first main dealer, it looked promising.
Which model are you interested in?
It's a GT3 RS.
Okay, let me just pop you through some details now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That sounds promising.
It's not something. Have you got like a buying history with us at the minute of a certain amount of cars?
No, not really, no.
That's a no.
And it was the same story for all the other dealers. I felt like we were getting nowhere.
Is that a specific vehicle that requires an invitation to purchase?
Porsche do entice to have some form of buying history from a certain centre.
You don't take deposits for them.
Welcome to Porsche Centre Preston, to Brooklyn, to Guildford, to Tunbridge, South Lakes, West London, Fleet, Sheffield.
Right. Okay, let's continue our search. I don't think we're going to need the green pen. Right, we're going Mayfair now. Posh. Going posh.
All right, it's not something that, especially that sort of ilk of car that we would be able to allocate. Then we can start to. What was I going to say?
As I was boring the salesman to sleep, we got a call back from one of the dealers.
We potentially have got a client who is looking at selling his GT3 RS. We would be looking at circa 365,000, but I suppose mathematically if you work out starting your own portfolio and working towards 10 cars, of course that could still work out your best option.
What do you mean by it's maybe better than doing your own portfolio price-wise?
There's an element of loss obviously in every single car, isn't there? So of course obviously every car depreciates. So if you was to buy circa 10 cars and say for example there was we bought it in at a certain price but there was an element of loss in each car, like anything depreciates, doesn't it? Any car can depreciate over the time. So the over allowance or the additional pricing on the GT3 RS may work out advantageous in the fact that of course it's less of a loss over the duration and it's a quicker route into it.
Right, so I understand what you mean. So if I bought a portfolio of cars which all lost money, that would cost me an amount of money anyway?
Absolutely, yes. It's ultimately, I'd probably think it's going to cost you slightly less to do it this way. So he's paid close to £265,000 retail for the car.
So in theory, he's lost more than 100 grand on other cars he's owned. So like this works out maybe cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's saying that this guy has lost more than 100 grand to have the right to buy this 992 GT3 RS. Mad. No matter how many people we rang, we got the same answer. So we went to see my good friend who might be able to help us. All right?
I'm good, how are you?
I need your help.
Well, that's what I'm here for. Talk to me.
I want to buy a Porsche.
Okay.
911 GT3 RS.
New one?
That's the big pit.
Yep.
I don't want to be paying overs.
You don't want to be paying overs. Well, you've come to the wrong place.
Carl's laugh says it all. It's looking like it's going to be impossible to get one of these cars for list price.
So someone who has paid list price, or what they think they've paid list price for a GT3 RS, I guarantee you has paid more than what they would have to pay if they come to buy one from me.
Why?
Well, because of the list of cars that they've had to lose money in that they don't want. It's okay having a car and losing money in that car if you wanted that car. Yes. But when you don't want a Cross Turismo 4S Taycan because you live in Wiltshire and there's nowhere to charge your car, but they've made you have two in the last 6 months, and now you've got one and your wife's got one and you can't use it, but you think, oh, you know what, I'll lose 35% in that car just to give it to Porsche. You go home, you calculate all them losses you've made, and then tell me if you've paid less than what I'm charging.
So I asked Carl about what the salesman had said to me earlier on in the dealership. I was concerned about not being guaranteed to get one of these cars, even if I ticked all the boxes by buying lots of other Porsches. And his answer was absolutely shocking.
So I've seen scenarios as well over the years where someone has walked into some dealer at some time and they've bought all the stuff that they want them to do. They've been on the trips that they want them to pay for to go on, because that's another thing. They invite you to go on a trip around Italy that you have to pay for. So that's not a good invite, is it? They've done all this stuff, and they've said, right, look, if I'm going to do all this, I need to make sure you're going to hold up your end of the bargain. You need to send me an email and confirm that I am going to get a
golden egg
GT3 RS, for example. And I've seen situations where that email has been sent and they still don't get it.
So there's even paperwork, a trail.
There's absolutely no guarantee whatsoever. Oh, and by the way, if you think you've got an order slot because you've left a deposit and they've taken your deposit, that means nothing either. It means absolutely nothing.
So the dealers are taking deposits off the customers, saying that they are going to get a car, but they are not delivering.
It's absolute stupidity. They sell you the dream that you're going to get something at list. No, you're not going to get it at list. They may as well say, if you buy 30 cars from us, we will give you a GT3 RS for free. That's what they may as well say, because it's the same thing. No one gets a GT3 RS at list. It doesn't happen.
To understand how frustrating it can be to get one of these cars, we spoke to a long-time loyal Porsche customer.
Yeah, so I've been a fan of Porsche all my life, and I've started owning them through the last 7 years probably. With me always wanting a GT3 RS, I went to my local dealer and said, what do I need to do to secure a slot? And they said, better history with buying from us, and not promised, but fairly convinced that I was secured a slot. Brought X amount of different models for myself. Over time, they've all depreciated and lost quite a lot of money. I wasn't promised a car, 100%. However, being told what I needed to do to get a slot on a car and still in the outcome not getting a car was really frustrating. So I've spent obviously thousands on the tours that you offer to go on with buying the cars. I bought the mountain bike, the Porsche mountain bike, and I even brought the £7,000 plastic Porsche watch purely to try and get me this build slot. You go on Piston Heads and they're all for sale, selling at way overs, and it just makes me think I would have had that car for pure enjoyment, not to make money on. Whenever going to Porsche, no one was like pushing for me to buy these things. I always wanted a GT3 RS, and I just thought buying all of these like add-ons as such would get me that build slot that I always wanted.
Putting all things aside, even if you did all the things you're asked to get on that list, another potential flaw is the salesman.
The salesman leaves that you've had a relationship with and bought all these cars. If he gets sacked tomorrow, then all of a sudden Mark McCann is who? Sorry, who do you normally deal with? Oh, I deal with Graham. Sorry, Graham's not here no more.
And then the new guy comes in who's got a relationship with people he's worked for him in the past. So he's bringing his own VIP list.
You're relying on the salesman who you're dealing with having a firm position in the company to get what you want. Now, if you ask me, that's a dangerous game.
So why are manufacturers limiting production numbers on these awesome top-end ultimate models? Well, it's probably not the reason you thought it was.
People get attracted to the brand. That's a special thing that brand makes. And what other special things do they make? You know what? The next GT3 RS, I want to get one of them. I better start buying. I'm going to buy a Carrera, a GTS, a Panamera.
So that car has a knock-on effect.
That car earns them more money because it sells their other cars.
And then they've got 5 cars they've sold, 5 cars they've got profit, they've got 5 cars then being serviced, 5 cars being warranted. I suppose that just snowballs to make the whole brand work.
5 cars that they make you take finance out on, because some manufacturers make you take finance out.
You have to have finance.
You have to have the finance. You have to, because they need to earn more money from you. So here's a perfect example of how they sell you the dream that don't really work out sometimes. A Ferrari SF90.
So we have seen that dealerships can be unfair by giving their customers false hope. Now, this next story is a lot more than that. It's just outright unfair. The SF90, just like the GT3 RS, is a flagship amazing car, and the owners need to have had a certain amount of buying history to get that build slot. But of course, those cars are likely to have lost money along the way.
That car is now for sale with me with 2,000 miles at 390,000. That's nearly 140,000 loss.
On just that one?
On just that car, to go with the other probably 140,000 loss that he's had on the other 5 or 6.
There's 280 grand's worth of loss of the car which was going to be a money maker.
But this gets better. I'm not stopped yet.
Shortly after the guy had sold his SF90, they released an even better model called the SF90 XX, which of course naturally he wanted one of those.
Call up my Ferrari dealer. I'd like an SF90 XX, please. Well, Carl, there's a problem. You need to have an SF90. But I had an SF90. I bought it from you for full money, and I sold it back to you to lose 100,000 or more. Yeah, but Ferrari stipulate if you don't physically have one at the minute you place the order for the XX, you don't get one. So now you've got to go and buy another one.
If you think that's ridiculous, it gets even worse than that. Let's pretend that I have been lucky enough to get offered a GT3 RS from the main dealer. To get this invite, I've already lost £100,000 on 10 cars which I needed to buy to get my chance of the slot. But now I have my new GT3 RS, which is instantly worth £100,000 more than I've just paid. So surely that equals everything out. Nope.
Then they say, okay, well, you have to sell it back to us. Now I'm there offering 100,000 plus over list.
If I bring it to you.
And you bring it to me, and they say, well, you know, if you want to continue doing business with us, you've got to sell it back to us at list price. List or not very much over, yeah? Yeah, I've seen it all,
And then they're still charged the 100 over.
Yeah, then they can sell it for over.
So they can do 80 grand.
They're a bit hypocritical, because if you're not allowed to sell it for over, but they are. What I'm offering you is this. You tell me what colour you want, I'll sell you a car at market price. When you're finished, I'll buy it back. There's no obligations to buy other cars. There's no obligations to not sell the car because I'm going to sue you. You can do whatever you want. You know why? Because it's yours, and that's what you should be able to do. And you know what? If you sold it to somebody else, you're still welcome to come back here and buy another car. I'll never blacklist you.
So I think it's obvious I'm not going to get a car from a Porsche dealership at list price unless I have a previous buying history that they are looking for. And that's where
I've got an ace up my sleeve.
I have had a fair few Porsches in the past. Now, does that class as buying history? These cars have actually totaled over £1 million. So maybe, just maybe, this is enough to use as leverage to get one of these new cars. So this is our last chance. We're going to go face to face and I'm going to give it Billy Big Beans. I'm going to try everything I can to try and get an allocation. This is it, I'm all in. But when I listed these cars to the salesman...
Yeah, I've had a few, like recently I had a 911 Targa, I've had a couple of Carrera GTs, like a 993 and 997, so I've had quite a few.
It literally made no difference. £1 million and yep, no difference.
Invitation only car.
Right.
Sorry to come across bluntly, I don't want to waste your time, but yeah, it's just giving you the honest answer basically, because we have people on a daily basis coming at us for GT3 RS.
Thanks for your effort, yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Okay, take care, bye.
Basically, no matter how hard you or me work, you are not going to be able to buy a GT3 RS at the price you were supposed to. The system's flawed. Basically, to even be considered for a slot, you have to spend a load of money in these dealerships. But if you do work at Porsche and you can get me in the back door, drop us a message on Instagram, Mark McCann 64. I have an actual allocation for one of these Porsche 911 GT3 RS. And I haven't lost a single penny. But there's a catch. Before I tell you all what Porsche have offered me, and it is crazy, let me explain properly why there is a magical list. When buying a brand new special edition car from a dealership, you are paying list price, meaning you could sell that car for overs the next day if it's a rare and desirable motor. When you take delivery, even though it's your money and your car, the dealership can sometimes make you sign a contract that you cannot sell your car for a year. So they try to dictate what you do with your own possession. The reason for this, the brand simply wants its best customers,
you're my #1 customer,
to keep the cars and enjoy them, and not to instantly flip them for profit, called overs. It's very tempting to take overs, as this can be some serious amounts of money. It's tax-free, cash, and it can be even overnight. Take these two 911 GT3 RSs, for example. These were £260,000 new. Right now they are for sale for 370 grand, and they've only done 300 miles. The question you might ask is why? Why would you buy one of these flipped second-hand cars for overs, which costs a lot of money, when you can get a new car from an official Porsche dealership for the normal sticker retail price? Well, to be added to the list, you have to purchase multiple mass-produced, less desirable cars that depreciate at an extreme rate. This is how Porsche offered me a deal that if I spent £500,000, I would get a brand new GT3 RS, which apparently last week was sold out. After my previous video attempting to buy a Porsche GT3 RS at list price, we received about 3,000 messages. Many from people all over the world which had very similar stories, but also there was lots of people trying to help me get one of these amazing cars, which led to this phone call. We have disguised this person's voice and kept their identity a secret. As you will see, it would cause big problems.
So any of the Taycan turbo or turbo S's, so the 3 cheapest turbos you can get on the website, they're listed as a new car, not pre-owned. In stock is the ones that they can do a deal on, basically. So the dealership, they're happy to do a deal, do you know what I mean? The only thing I think he was really, really nervous about was obviously it being found. I think the pressure was on to try and get the ball rolling with this one, to maybe sort of get the deal in first place.
Looks like we've got a GT3 RS. So, right, thanks to you guys, it sounds like I can have a brand new GT3 RS slot this week. I can spec it, I can personalise it all to my car. I don't need any previous buying history, but I have got to sweeten the deal with buying 3 Porsche Taycans now. But in theory, if I can sell those cars at just a little bit of loss, surely that's going to work out better than the overs I've got to pay right now. But the only confusing thing is they keep on telling me that these are sold out, there's no more allocations, but yet I'm going to get one to spec this week. As you can imagine, I was overjoyed that Porsche had offered me the chance to purchase a GT3 RS, and the deal they were offering me I thought was extremely fair. But this is where I was wrong. In my head, I thought if I bought 3 brand new Taycan turbos at £170,000 each and sold them at, say, a 10% loss the very next day, I would have lost £50,000 overnight. The benefit of this is that I would be able to purchase a brand new GT3 RS at list price, £260,000, and potentially sell it for overs of 100 grand, meaning I would be 50 grand up instantly. But for me, what I want is the car of my dreams for way less than I can get anywhere else. So before I commit to that money and the stress of trying to sell 3 Porsche Taycans, I thought let's go check the GT3 RS out and see if it lives up to this huge hype. All right, Mark.
Lovely to meet you, Mark. I'm Lewis. This is Better Performance, and I'd love to show you around this lovely GT3 RS.
The first one I've actually seen in real life.
Oh, you won't get your head around it.
There's a lot of like added bits in there. So this is the DRS.
Yes. Yeah. Active aero, just like Formula 1 cars.
So that goes lower.
Keep your ass on the ground.
That's nuts, isn't it? I like that. And the car just like with a piece of rope. No doubt, looking around this car, it is next level. It's amazing. Despite being a subscriber to the channel, Lewis let me loose in the driver's seat and told me I can go as fast as I like and I can even jump it. Well, that's what I heard.
We're still running it in as well, so we've got to be a little bit careful.
Look at that. That is
it's weight reduction.
To save weight.
Save a bit of weight, man.
Oh, I want one of these. Oh yeah, that's nice. I'm loving it already.
It's too good.
That's proper, that is.
It's too good.
I love that noise.
It's just these little things, the way it clicks, the way it feels, the carbon door cards, everything. The car is just some special race car.
That's nice.
Now I've got a bit of personal experience. A very close friend of mine actually wanted an SF90XX from Ferrari. Yes. So he's done the similar route. He's bought Purosangue, SF90s, just lots of Ferraris to get an SF90XX. Now he spent over £2 million and the dealership have actually turned around and said now they're not getting one. Now I was on a drive with a gentleman the other day that outright told me that he is getting an SF90XX from that dealership. So
and the dealer's told the customer.
Dealer's told the customer a lie in essence, yes.
Wow, that was good. Oh, there you are.
That was me. I'm cutting your wages.
You getting one?
Yeah. That means you're out.
Well, can I use it on the weekend?
No, you're out.
Oh.
I'll never speak to you ever again. I get it. After driving this, thanks to Lewis, I understand why these are sought after. A GT3 RS right now is the car, it's the trendy car, but my God, it's a lot of money. But what I've just experienced is worth every penny. The car was obviously amazing, but before I went ahead with the deal, I decided to do a little bit of research just to make sure what these 3 Taycans are worth, because it might just be too good to be true. And what we found out was mind-blowing. So this is one of the 3 cars which they're offering. It's a Taycan Turbo S, and with a list price of £169,000. Bargain. Let's see what spec it's got. Lane chains assist £600, parking cameras £575, adaptive cruise control £2,400, dynamic chassis control £2,500, ambient lighting £330, and how is black paint on wheels more expensive than silver? £900. You have to pay extra for a logo on the centre console, £240. You don't even get floor mats, £600. You have to pay for a clock, £800. I'm struggling to see what actually comes as standard on literally the top of the range model. So obviously they are making us have 3 very high spec cars. Now I need to sell these today right away, so obviously the best way of doing that is we buy any car.
First time using a Mac.
It's just got no clicky bits, has it? It's ridiculous. Look.
Useless.
No, I'm not. It's just these Macs make no sense.
I have no problem using it.
I couldn't believe how good of a deal Porsche was offering me, and if we could pull this off and sell the 3 Taycans at 10% loss, I'd get the car of my dreams for way less than anyone else. What the? Okay, we have a problem. Delivery mileage car, that's a loss of £100,000, and that's 3 cars. So if we had all 3 Taycans and sold them to We Buy Any Car, minus £300,000. We need a plan B. So why? Why are these cars not selling? Well, I found this guy on TikTok who has documented the unbelievable story of the depreciation of this amazing car.
These things are piling on as the lease is finished and they put them on the trader. And they're not selling.
But why? Well, to start with, there are so many for sale. There are over 700 on Auto Trader. My local Porsche dealership alone has over 30 cars listed on Auto Trader, and I know that they have a lot more in stock. So simple, supply and demand. There are way more cars than people who want them, which obviously drives down the second-hand price.
And they thought they'd get 72 grand for it. It's come down, 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 now it's 59. Doesn't that just make you think, oh my God.
But what makes this even worse is when they were new, some people were paying overs, 25 grand over. A big reason people bought these Taycans is in the business it's much less company car tax. The taxman goes much easier on you if you go green. But the huge difference, what doesn't qualify is second-hand cars. They have to be brand new. And then, yep, the batteries. They are only warranted for 8 years or 100,000 miles. And to replace a battery,
for a Porsche Taycan, £40,000 for a new battery.
And as we know from our iPhones, batteries do not last forever. And another reason these used Taycans can be an issue, technology. It's advancing every single day. So a car only a few years old, the battery is already outdated. So the unknown of these cars' batteries life is scaring people off. I've had one of these cars. I've driven it for a day when Jane's car was in for service. It was fast, comfortable, electric, cheap to run. There was nothing wrong with it. So it looked like selling this car would be a nightmare. But I'm selling 3 brand new cars with 0 miles and nice specs. So surely we can find a way to get some more money for them. So time for plan B. I found a dealer which specialises in these sort of cars and will hopefully offer me a better price. Oh yeah, I've got some Porsche Taycans for sale and I wonder if you'd be interested in giving me a price for them.
How many have you got?
3. Taycan Turbo S's, delivery mileage, like list book price is about £170,000 each.
Okay, and what sort of money are they going to be?
I was hoping you were going to tell me.
I haven't got enough money left for 3. I've got Taycans coming out of my ears at the moment, which is committed to.
Right. Thanks a lot, thank you, bye-bye.
Yes.
So even a company who specialises in these cars is struggling to sell them. So unfortunately, he won't even buy my 3 cars. This deal is looking more and more unlikely to be able to pull off. So let's go to plan C. So we're going to have to go see Carl. He is our last hope to see what he will give us for these 3 cars. And hopefully he will give us closer to that so we can go down this route and I can spec my own GT3 RS today.
At this price.
I've been thinking about this in the night. Now, obviously, The guy said to me that they only get 1 or 2 cars per dealership.
We only get two allocations a year, and they are given to people that have got loyalty to the business.
So what he is saying is every year dealerships get 2 new cars to sell, and they get offered to the top 2 clients. So it's basically a hierarchy. That is completely fair. The best customers get rewarded by being offered the best cars. But here is a problem. As we saw in the last video, you are not guaranteed an actual car.
You are simply in competition with all the other customers. Now, as we know, I have no buying history with this dealership, which are offering me this new car slot. But with this deal on the table, I am having to take 3 Porsche Taycans as a sweetener, and then I will leapfrog the whole hierarchy right to the very top and spec my own car. So simply, if I get rid of these 3 Taycans, that is great for me. But what about the loyal customers, the ones in number 2 and number 3 positions, who may have spent millions to get to the top of that list, and they have been told, sorry, we haven't got enough cars coming.
Does that mean they're only giving 1 real customer, 1 loyal customer, 1 big spending customer a car? What about the second person? What about the third person? Because they're going to have sold that dream to some people. They're going to have said to them, if you buy 10 cars, you do this, you're going to get, hopefully, a slot. Imagine if they knew that I've been offered a slot. Business-wise, what great sense, because they've sold the 10 cars, the 2 million on the dangling carrot, and now they're going to sell another 3 Taycans. We soon got to cars, and if we can't make this deal mathematically work, then it's definitely going to be a no to the GT3 RS.
Hello again.
Hello, mate. How you been?
Yeah, good, thank you. You won't believe this.
Unfolded. Go on.
I have a slot, a guaranteed slot, a real car, which I can spec and list.
What, GT3 RS?
Yes.
They've given you a slot?
Yes.
That you can go in and spec?
Yes.
Okay.
But there's a deal.
What's the catch?
I've got to have 3 Taycan Turbo S's.
Okay, let's have a look.
But they're listing at about 170.
Oh, lovely. So these are, as described, Porsche Taycan Turbo S, new, model year 23. So they were new about 12 months ago when they built them and never sold them. But now they want to sell them to you.
Yes.
But you can have 3 of them.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Before Carl gave me his valuation, I had a few questions I needed answering.
A load of comments in the video have been, I know you're into watches, about Rolex having the same sort of strategy, but obviously, like Porsche, it's not the Rolex, it's the jewelry shops like Porsche. It's not Porsche, it's Porsche dealers.
That's just a business strategy, isn't it? Also, you can dive in this rabbit hole even further. These dealers, they're not earning money from Taycans. What they're doing is they are saying, we sold 10 Taycans this week, so Porsche have give us a big bonus.
An extra bit.
And they're all on finance, which means that we're still earning some from the finance. We're moving units. That's what they're doing.
If Porsche are in such a mess, you can see business-wise why they might try and sell 3 more Taycans. It's not probably, it's not fair.
Well, it's business, it's life, it's business,
Yeah.
It is what it is. What's not fair is someone who does jump in through the hoops and doesn't get the end goal.
Yes.
That's not fair, and I've seen that happen.
If I went and did the deal and I drove them straight here, what would they be worth? Would you take them and how much?
Realistically, you're going to lose $225,000 in these 3 cars. So you're paying $225,000 over list.
Wow.
Gutted. So it's clear this deal is not going to work out.
This is not a deal, so don't call it that. You make your own decision. I will happily buy all 3 of these cars at a $75,000 loss on each one.
So we're no further forward.
You're actually $125,000 further back.
And now the killer blow.
The bad news is there's a new Taycan coming out. So these unregistered new old cars are now going to be a derelict model. Everything's got a price.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a more undesirable car at the minute than a Porsche Taycan. I said to you before, no one gets a GT3 RS at list.
I am still determined there is a way that I can get this amazing GT3 RS at list price without losing money. And the good news is,
I think I have found a way.
With some more negotiations, we now have a new deal on the table, and to be fair, it's a lot better this time. Right, so we have a counter offer. So obviously nobody took them up on the free Taycans, but this is looking a lot more in our favour. Still two cars, one dreaded Taycan Turbo S, but this time a 911 Turbo S cab. Because we've only got one Taycan to sell, I reckon we can get out of that for about a 65 grand loss. Now the GT3 RSs are still fetching 100 over. Jane needs a new car so she can have the Porsche 911 Turbo S cab, so we're going to be better off in every way because I even get to spec my own car. Good news, got you a new car.
A G-Wagon?
Better than that, a Porsche.
Please don't tell me it's a Taycan.
It's a 911 Turbo cab.
Is that some sort of deal then to get you that GT3 RS?
No, it's because I love you.
Okay.
And you, mate, yeah.
Right, if you've missed the last two videos and you're wondering what all this palaver is all about, let me try and explain in a super simple way.
Imagine walking into your local supermarket and trying to buy these, the limited edition, best tasting crisps in the whole shop. But the cashier says, unfortunately, Mr. McCann, it's just not that simple. You have to buy the 30-pack standard crisps, and then I promise you, you can have the posh pack. So you buy them, you eat them, and then you go back for this ultimate pack. But the cashier says, sorry Mark, we sold out the last pack yesterday. I didn't realise we had none left. But even worse, something is going on behind your back. A total new guy has walked into the store and he's haggled a deal that if he buys these free budget pack of crisps, which are stale, out of date and been stuck on the shelf for ages, then they will suddenly, miraculously, find in this special pack which they've been hiding out the back all this time. And that is going to leave a stale taste in anybody's mouth. It was actually me. It's me.
Ah. And supercar dealers are doing exactly the same thing. They are using their special edition cars to sell their lesser models. And this is one of the reasons it's been so difficult to get my allocation for a GT3 RS.
After weeks of trying to beat this system of the 10 previous cars, £2 million spend rubbish, we can make this deal work. And with a little bit of compromise our end, we can accept this offer and finally going to get a GT3 RS. And it's thanks to all you guys sat at home showing your continued support of these videos. That's the reason we're going to get this car.
And thank you for all your comments. We have heard some crazy stories. These are just some of the comments. They actually get even worse. Even reports of bribery with holidays and even cash, which is obviously criminal. You can read them for yourselves on the last two videos. They are alarming.
Right, I've had a sleep on it and my conscience is getting the better of me. The big problem I've got is not sitting right because somebody out there has spent millions of pounds on the hope of getting this GT3 RS slot. And I've had to buy two cars, which they're saying, a Taycan and a Turbo S cab, and we leapfrog everybody to the top of that list.
Yeah, it's not right and it's not fair.
No.
You wouldn't like it if it was done to you.
No, somebody's sat looking at their phone, waiting for the phone call to say, yep, your car's coming, you've just got to come and spec it. They've been sold that dream, jumped through all the hoops, and now I'm going to leapfrog all of those people by just buying two cars. So for now, back to the start. But I think I've got a plan.
It's plan D, and this is what we're going to do. I have figured out a way to get this car with hopefully losing very little money, and that is without any allocation from Porsche themselves.
Well, let me explain. I've bought cars from Lamborghini for nearly 20 years, even back in the days when they broke a lot and nobody wanted them. I've built a relationship that I'm one of Lamborghini's best customers, so I get invited to have special cars, like the new Lamborghini Countach, £1.5 million. I didn't have the money, and now they're worth $1 million more. To get in this position, I have bought over 20 new cars.
Okay, so maybe you think buying 20 cars from Lamborghini is hypocritical of the last two videos. The cars I bought were all cars that I actually wanted. No dangling carrots, no sweeteners, no playing the game or jumping through hoops. I bought them because I wanted them, and it eventually got me the ultimate limited edition cars. I was naturally at the top of the VIP list simply because of my long and loyal relationship. At no point did I ever have to have a car that I didn't want, and at no point did I have to buy trips or silly watches which I didn't like. I did what I wanted and bought the car I wanted and enjoyed every single one of them.
Last year, I purchased a Lamborghini Urus Performante, actually my third Urus and by far the most special. It came with a big spec and cost £280,000. It's been seen on the channel a lot, and if you don't know which one it is, it's a big yellow thing.
The trouble is, over the last year of owning this car, as I've discussed on previous videos, it's not my preferred motor vehicle, but nor is any SUV really. I'm a hot hatch man, a chavvy, a popping and banging racing car, just like my beloved Clio. The Urus is probably the ultimate SUV in looks and comfort. She's just a big old bus.
The GT3 RS is much more me. It just means Jane and Senna have to get an Uber. When I first got the Lamborghini Urus, we made a video on overs. It was a story of how you could flip these limited number cars the day you bought them for profit. Simply put, supply and demand. I could have sold it the very next day and made £70,000 tax-free overnight. Now that was last year, but even after a year of owning this car and driving 7,000 miles, it's still now worth £300,000, which is still £20,000 over the list price which I paid for it. This is where my plan comes together.
The rest of the plan is simple.
I'm going to use the power of the overs of the Lamborghini, use the profit and invest it directly into the GT3 RS. So I will use my Lamborghini overs to cover some of the Porsche's overs. So I'm swapping brands. I'm using my position on the Lamborghini list to overcome not being on the Porsche list. We are cheating the whole system by using the very same system. But really importantly, I don't take anybody's allocation. And even better for me, paying overs is going to be back to a Porsche customer who's already had to buy a load of Taycans and could really do with my money.
So next problem is finding a GT3 RS which has been flipped and selling at overs in a specialist car dealership. And I think I've got the perfect spec car in mind.
So last video, this is the car we test drove down in Cardiff at Better Performance with Lewis. It's an amazing car. It has everything that you want it to have. Wise-Up pack, perfect colour combination, ceramic brakes. It is the absolute nuts. So we're going to give Lewis a call now and try and see if somehow we can bang out a deal.
Hi Mark, how are you?
Hi Lewis, you okay?
Really well, thank you. How have you been yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good. Just ringing to see if you've had a look and what you think you can do on a deal for this car.
Yeah, okay mate. I'll be very, very honest. I've had a really good think and I think what you're doing is fantastic. You'd be really, really special and I think that I'm going to really look after you with the deal. And I think that if I sell you the GT3 RS at a 330,000, but I would need your Urus because I'd like an opportunity going forward. So I would do good money for it. I would like to offer you 300,000 for it, so I could give you a 30,000 cost per change if that would suit you, Mark.
Wow, okay.
Wow, that is a better deal than I ever expected. This must be the cheapest ever GT3 RS. This way we need no previous buying history. This way we need no extreme overs. We are not being made to sign a contract that I cannot sell it. And Lewis is definitely not going to blacklist me.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's changed something. That's 40 grand less. He's just knocked that off that car. That's amazing. So, fair play to him. There is only one problem standing in the way of me owning a GT3 RS. Not Porsche anymore.
Lamborghini. Go back to your tractors, farmer.
Lamborghini do a lot of background checks to make sure that the buyers of these very special cars don't flip them. They would prefer the cars to go to customers who will enjoy the car for years to come. Ideally, they would also prefer to buy the car back from you, so it can stop in the local area. When I purchased the Urus, I wasn't made to sign a contract or anything like that, but I always offer to give the car back to Lamborghini first. It's fair as a business and I don't want to tarnish a great relationship. We need to stop friends as there's a new 1,000 horsepower Lamborghini coming to this channel very soon.
The deal which Lewis is offering us is amazing, but the only way I could possibly get more money is by exporting it. That's because these special cars are worth more money in luxury countries like Dubai, as there is more people with money than there are cars.
Now, if I exported the Urus, there would be a big problem. There is a limited number of Lamborghinis allocated to the UK, and the sales and servicing network needs these cars to stop here. For example, this UK car is sold to me, then I sell it back to the dealer, then they sell it to another customer. Each year it's serviced, repaired, warranty, upgraded. So as long as the car stops in the UK, the money stays in the Lamborghini circle. But what happens if the car gets exported? The UK dealer network loses it all. So that is why Lamborghini want the car back first, just to make sure it doesn't get shipped out of the UK. And this is where the problem lies. The only way we can make this deal work is if Lewis can have my Urus. He wants this amazing car in his showroom and is willing to do us a great deal. But if Lamborghini wants to buy my Urus back, it means that our plan has failed. And like I said, I have to give them first refusal. So the only thing left to do is to call Lamborghini and ask whether they want my Urus back. If they do, there is no chance of me buying a GT3 RS without losing tens of thousands of pounds. If they say they don't want it, it looks like we're getting a GT3 RS. So everything sits on this. We're all invested in this crazy story. If this call comes back negative and they want my Urus, then I'm going to do the right thing and let them have it. And that means no more options. I hope they don't want the car, all right? Do that.
Do your fingers crossed.
Good.
Hi Mark, how are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. How are you? I've got a deal on the table with a Porsche 911 GT3 RS, but they want the Urus as part exchange. And obviously I wanted to give it first refusal to you, but I just wondered if there's anything we can do because they have to have this car for the deal to go through.
Right, okay. How long have you had it now?
It's actually over a year.
Well, obviously, we really would love to have the car back, but I've seen the videos and I know how much you really want this car. So, under these circumstances, I'll be okay with you selling it elsewhere.
You're a legend, thank you.
All the best.
Take care. Bye 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 bye. Bye.
Mummy's getting a G-Wagon!
No, it's a GT3 RS. What an absolute result. Right, let's get to Wales. I cannot believe we're actually going to get a car after all we've been through, which has been a month of ups and downs, doors closing, doors opening, and thanks to you guys, we're actually going to get a car today. You've given us so much contacts and so many helps to get us through and over this hurdle. Right guys, here we are. Better performance in Cardiff.
You again. How are you doing, Mark?
Is she ready?
Lovely to see you again, mate. She's all ready for you. Come on in.
Look at this, nice, isn't it?
Amazing. I love it. Look at the spec.
2 keys.
Thank you, sir. Do you want me to show you the new one?
Oh, I'm excited today.
Yeah. Let's go. Come on, lads.
That's mad, isn't it?
Amazing.
You can tell it's 911, can't you? Look at his nostrils. So this is it. This has been some journey.
Let's get it off. Are you ready?
Yeah. 4 weeks ago, when I walked into a dealership trying to buy a car, I had no idea what I was entering into. Up until now, we have had over 2 million views, 6,000 comments, lots of people telling us their stories, which are even worse than ours, and hundreds of people all over the world trying to help me get this car. Thanks to you, today is finally the day. We are getting a GT3 RS. I have never encountered such a difficult car to buy, but my God, was it worth it. This is a thing of beauty. It is literally like a spaceship, isn't it?
Some car. I cannot wait to see him on track in this.
It's unbelievable. It is just a crazy, crazy car, isn't it? Oh, it's just posh, isn't it?
Try to do our best.
Yeah.
And there's the 2 keys. So you've got 2 keys for the car as well.
Thank you so much for the deal.
No problem at all. What a pleasure.
Testing it? Let's go. Bye bye Urus. Right, top speed run. Let's go. Tunnel.
absolutely love it. Love it. Expect some videos on this very, very soon. Just thank you for everyone who's invested in this series. It's been amazing, a roller coaster, ups and downs. But finally, we have the car. See you next Tuesday, 6 p.m.